So, to think about it, food travels the world completely without a passport, but it has this amazing ability to change how countries interact with each other. In the subject of strategic studies, we usually spend our time looking at things like military power, economic expansion, or big state treaties. But some of the most lasting international connections are made by the politicians in the government buildings. However, but instead, they were made in front of us on the dinner table. So, we usually talk about the gastrodiplomacy, we mean big state funded campaign. But today, I want to look at it from a different angle, which is from the bottom to the up approach called food migration. And we see how everyday migrant community built a real
In
global
order for
influence
us to
across the
understand
border.
how this works, let's break down the course idea. As highlighted in standard academic definition of gastrodiplomacy, or also known as cultural diplomacy, is basically the strategic use of nation food and culinary culture as soft power. This is where the government intentionally use their local cuisine to win the hearts and the minds of people in other countries, give them tourism boost, increase food export, and at the same time make their global nation brand look good. A great example of this is the South Korea massive push to make kimchi famous worldwide, and Thailand's Global Thai Initiative. However, there is another side to this that happens to naturally, and that is what we call food migration. Instead of being driven by a government ministry, this is entirely a grassroots community effort where the people move across border because of economic opportunities or historical change. They carry their recipes, flavor, and cooking style with them in their heads, and hands. Once the community settle in a new country, they start adapting then that traditional comfort food to match the local ingredient and taste available to them. When they do this, they basically create informal everyday cultural embassies. It started out as a way to make a living, but it ended up becoming a powerful tool that built long-term goodwill for the home country without the government spending a single dollar.
To understand more deeply, we need to understand it in practical form. So let's look at one of the most global comfort food, which is the humble noodle. Even though noodles originated in China, they spread perfectly mirror global history. Back in 19th and 20th centuries, the large wave of Chinese laborers migrated to the Southeast Asia, bringing the food culture with them. But food migration isn't about perfectly copying a recipe, it's about adaptation. Where in the places like Malaysia, Chinese wheat and rice noodles made local ingredients like spicy chilies, lemongrass, and coconut milk. This cultural crossover is exactly how we got the legendary dishes like laksa, hokkien mee, char kway teow, and over the time, these dishes went from simple migrant survival food to a massive national symbol of multinational multicultural pride. Sorry, excuse me. So, from a strategic perspective, this noodle migration acts as an aggressor of soft power tool in two ways. The first one, it helped with the social integration. By sharing a meal with can lower the social tension between locals and the new immigrant community. This lead to a building familiarity and trust at the basic human level. And then for the second one, it builds real economic ties. Popular migrated dishes created lasting international supply chains for the ingredients and drive food tourism, turning cultural heritage into some sort of economic security. In conclusion, while the official gastro diplomacy allowed government to strategically use food to win the hearts of and people's minds, the story about the noodle proved that soft power isn't just a top-down state strategy. Instead, it was through lasting public diplomacy happened naturally through the creative of migrant communities. In strategic studies, we are taught to focus on the hard borders and military power, but food migration reminds us that some of our deepest cultural ties are most enduring international friendship are built quietly act and quiet act like one bowl of noodle at a time. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.